Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser on a Wednesday morning where I'm back to being the greatest dads, fading away rapidly. But I do have a new early Father's Day present. So it might make its way into the circulation over here. But I don't know. I don't want to give up the Wednesday one. But John is with us, the prestigious award winner of the most hated American Scouser of the week this week. What's going on, dude?
Me? What the
Oh
hell did
yeah,
I do? What the
you
hell did
have
I
not seen the
do?
online comments, my friend. By
Really?
far, not even close, the most
Oh,
hated American Scouser
listen.
of
If
the
it's
week.
if it's if it's on YouTube, if it's on Facebook, I don't care. It
Oh,
gives us
it's on
traction.
Facebook. It's
If
on
it's
Facebook.
it's on traction anyway. They're probably calling me some stupid yank or something, even though I'm not American. So
Oh, that would be one of the better comments. But yes,
All publicity is good publicity, right?
let him go, man. Like, yeah, like as Kenny said, like if they viewed the story, they viewed our channel, they gave us the time of day, helps the algorithm. I don't care. I'm willing to take one for the team. I'm the James Milner.
oh,
I'll
you
take
you
I'll
took a
take it.
lot for the team, dude. It was
Yeah.
good. Now, there's a lot of people who agree with what you said too, but it was like good. As I read it, I'm like, of all people, poor John getting hate is the most funny. But you are wearing the number 20 shirt that we
Oh,
have, and we
absolutely.
still
It's
do.
glorious. And
And
it's
we
called
probably will have rest of the summer. So I will shoot the link again because it is from our sponsors who's bringing this morning show over here, Jayla Fashion. So it is hosted on their site. I'll throw the link again. There's this one and back on our perch as well. So hop on and grab them while they're available. They'll probably be available for a few more months over here, and then we'll go to the new season with stuff. Speaking of world's greatest dads, number two is somewhere in Chicago, actually. Finn has a birthday party this weekend coming up, but
oh,
we have
nice.
not in too early to be in the rankings as a father, but Kenny is in the house joining us this morning. What's going on, man?
I'm here, happy to be part of the system. I am a new dad, 1 month old. She's
Nice.
right next to me.
Congratulations, man.
She's asleep. She's a big Liverpool fan. I talk to her all the time about it. She's nice and bored and won't stir when I'm talking about Liverpool.
Why
Of
do I
course,
feel like she didn't have a choice in the matter, my friend?
she did not. She had plenty of Liverpool-based onesies and stuff from the family ready to go before her birth. She's actually never watched a game where we aren't Premier League champions, so um,
Nice.
There
not
you
bad.
go.
She's a good
Yeah.
luck charm. I'll keep her around for that at least until we don't lose it.
Until we have a losing streak, then you're like, gonna have to get a new kid.
Exactly. Sorry, babe.
Alan, Mr. Barrett, good morning, everybody. Welcome aboard. Grab a cup of coffee or tea and join us. A few things to talk about. I guess we'll talk about the news first. That's probably, I think this is the freshest because we're giving Leverkusen a lot of money to spend based on how it's going over here. They are interested because I think Leverkusen is after Flecken.
Uh-huh.
So he might be going that way, which would make them yet another candidate, really, John. I mean, we were talking about it, I think, a couple of weeks ago. There are quite a few teams that can use Keller services. So Thunder and lightning here, says Alan.
Mm.
It's British weather over here is pouring like crazy outside. But John, how much is too much for Kelleher? How much do you think would be a good fee? We do send a lot of people to Brentford
Right.
for some good fees. We sent two last year, so
I think the report said something along the lines of 20 to 25, and I would take that all day. Like for
really.
Keller, I would take it. Like it might be a little low for some people, considering how good Kelleher is, but at the same time, we're getting another top class keeper coming in. So in terms of like the loss of Keller, it wouldn't be felt too much. And for me, it's just the fact that I feel like out of goodwill, we just gotta let him, get to a club where he'll be first choice, if that makes sense.
Out of
2025.
goodwill to Kelleher, not Brentford.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And to Keller mostly. Like it looks like we're lowballing. It looks like we're setting it low. But then at the same time, this guy has been professional. He's been on the bench. He's been ready whenever called upon. So for me, a fee doesn't matter as much, if that makes sense. Like I know the people are gonna go like, oh, we might as well get as much as we can for him. But at the same time, again, like the human side, I'd love Keller to just go,
Oh, okay.
yeah, get a get a chance somewhere else, if that makes sense.
Kind of stole my thunder because I was actually looking to see over here, but there was definitely no goodwill for Carvalho, Kenny. But we got 23 million, 23.4 it says. So I think it was like 30 million, 23.4 is the euro, I think, for Fabio Carvalho last year when we sent him to Brentford. A guy who was a misfit, never happy, hence he's not playing all that and stuff like that. Whereas now we're sending a goalie with Premier League, like a proven Premier League experience. I feel like 2025 seems low. I know what John is saying, but it still feels low.
I hate to agree with John since he's the most hated and get my bad rep already. But
Well,
Listen,
thanks
man.
for joining us.
my thought would have been 25 to
It's
30.
a badge of honor, man. It's a
Right.
badge of honor. Like
25 to 30. He's a proven Premier League goalkeeper. I think he's going to be great for wherever he goes. I saw Leeds were interested as well. But he's stuck it out for a long time, being second fiddle when he could have probably gone. And I think we probably priced him out of a move last year when he was kind of ready to go. And he's been great. He's been a safe pair of hands for us when obviously it's hard to displace Allison, and he knows that better than anyone. It's not like he's second fiddle to Milos Kerkez or anything like that. It's Allison. It's hard, and personally, I would have much rather kept him around instead of signed Mamardashvili. Not that I have anything against him, but we know what Kelleher can do, and that like clear succession plan. Like, hey, look, Allison getting ready to be phased out. Well, who knows? He looked great this year, but there was a Saudi rumors last summer where his time could be coming to an end, and we could keep Kelleher around. He knows the club, homegrown, which is big. But I think it's his time to go. He's earned it. He's earned the move. I wouldn't price him out of it. Obviously, if we can get 50 mil for him, do it. But if it's between that and not letting him go, I think it's fair to let him go. Also, it's pure profit from the academy. Not that we have huge financial problems. We were about to spend gazillion dollars this summer, but it's always nice to balance those books, whenever we can.
See, I was going to get to that because I do feel like when we come to the other conversations, that's generating some from these outgoings would be big. The princess, Kenny already knows the ins and out of the personalities. Not really by agreeing with John. He's already lost several points. But you guys are basically saying, okay, so a goalie normally would be going for a lot more, especially with Premier League experience and almost he would be going there as the starter. He wouldn't be. I don't think Keller himself is going to want to go into a situation, John, where he's competing for the job. He wants guarantee, because otherwise now he's suddenly sitting on the bench of Bournemouth or something like that, which is going to be like, she's like, oh shit, I was in Liverpool at least, kind of a deal. But
right.
So you're basically doing the discount not based on value, but more
based on goodwill,
as a thanks to his services kind of thing.
Yeah.
Let me see what his.
I think we could spare that extra 10 million that we could possibly get from him if we sell like Darwin to Saudi for like 70 or something. So you know what I mean? Like, listen, if there's people that in terms of deserving to get sold, Kelleher is at the bottom of like purely deserving out of performances, not good for the club. Kelleher is at the bottom of the list. So we can definitely make up for whatever like fee that we should be getting for him with the other players, I would feel. Obviously, it's different in business, right? I'm purely speaking from like a personal, like emotional perspective. So whatever happens, happens. I'm just happy for him that he's finally going to get the move that he's looking for.
Yeah, I mean, any interview you watch him and he seems pretty adamant, Kenny, that he wants to go. I mean, he wants to start somewhere. So this is great and everything, but I do want to go and start somewhere kind of thing.
I think that also like kind of not that he's doing it on purpose, but everyone knows he wants to go. He's going to go. It kind of kills our leverage. So like, are we really going to play hardball over an extra 5 million when everyone kind of knows he's going anyway? Sure. Or he's going to be here at the club still and be pissed and because he priced him out of a move, which Brentford again, Sepp Vandenberg tried to do that last summer. They won't let me go. They won't want to play me, but they won't sell me for a reasonable price, and it becomes a whole thing in the media. And I just would hate to see Kelleher's time end like that. I don't think Liverpool wants to do that either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at his like transfer market value, and it's at 22 euro, which is close to 30 for Kelleher again. So it would be, I mean, I feel like especially like when we go into the striker conversation, because there are some rumors out there today, and I don't know if we would get somebody or are going to even go after somebody. But we're talking a lot on Monday nights about if Verts does become official and come on over. Would it be like a false nine? Would he be also a striker at the same time? Does it mean that we're not getting a striker and stuff like that? We really don't know because we don't know what kind of team they're in the process of building over here. But yeah, the more the better, I guess. But like you're saying, Kenny, I think the fact that everybody in the world knows he wants to go somewhere, and then that goodwill thing does come in because he has been a servant for quite some time over there. So I do get that aspect. Well, let's get to this then. The Kerkez deal in the background. I mean, John, it looks like this was the hot topic. By the way, we're already tracking planes. So
Mm.
Frimpong is there. It's not. I thought I would wake up to it being official today, but I did not see anything yet. Um, but with him, and then it almost felt like there was a little bit of Kerkez talk, and then once the Verts conversation started, people just went ape shit because obviously that's such a
Oh yeah,
bigger transfer. So Kerkez kind of like got forgotten. But Fabrizio regularly reminds that it is still in the works.
Yeah.
And it is gone. So,
basically, yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
I was about to say Fabrizio reminds us with basically the same update yesterday, just worded differently. Like that's how we.
Classic Fabrizio fashion. I love his videos of. It's kind of like it's not even a podcast, but I don't know if you've seen these videos where he does like an interview where there's a guy that's like throwing the beach balls at him, and then Fabrizio's like, bang. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, because he gave him the questions. Like, it's just like, and there's something going on with Kerkez, isn't there? And it's like, oh, yes, there is. But,
on
so,
that,
yeah, he's just doing the same updates, but.
Right. On that note of Kerkez, like I get what you mean. Like I sort of felt that as well. Like when Verts was like confirmed, like we're going for him, everyone just like turned their heads the other way, forgetting that we're getting arguably the best left back in the league, replacing our left back who was for a number of years the best left back in the league. So if we're talking about a succession plan, this is as good as it gets, right? I just keep going back to my comment when we did the watch along with the Brighton game, where we had Costas there, and you were like, he's got the strength of a boy. We're getting a man.
Yeah,
like we are getting a man's man, like in the left back there, like basically Robertson in his prime physically, and I would say Kerkez looks even stronger at times. Even like maybe Prime Robo had the speed edge, maybe had the crossing edge, but physically this Kerkez dude, man, like in terms of having someone bomb up that left flank alongside Gakpo or Diaz, couldn't think of a better player. So if there is some excitement to be spared from the Verts transfer, let's transfer it over to the Kerkez one, because this could be like a sleeper like deal of the season, right? I would say so.
What scares me about the whole Verts thing, because meanwhile you're doing like top edge moves like Frimpong and then Kerkez and stuff like that. I feel like if something wrong goes with the Verts deal, it's gonna like put a bad spell over everything else. Whereas you are doing some top moves. I mean, we've seen him put some like ridiculous assists and stuff like that in, so it is like a huge upgrade. I guess really, I'll ask you, Kenny, because we have talked about this in the channel before. Get your take on it in terms of what it means for Robertson. Would he stay and be okay with splitting that role, or would he want to go somewhere Kelleher like and get to play?
I think Robertson is self-aware enough to know his time is coming. If not there, its time is getting close. His legs have clearly gone a bit. He's not the same engine that he was. Yeah. In his defense, he looked great in the second half of the year compared to the first half, where he looked really off it. But I think it's nice, or in my perfect, ideal world, Robertson stays for a year at least, gets Kerkez settled. Robertson maybe starts the season, lets Kerkez adapt, get used to the Liverpool way, and kind of that succession plan takes over. Who knows? Maybe Kerkez is perfect. 5 games in, Robertson becomes the rotation option. But to lose Robertson in the dressing room even would be horrible. He's just such a character, such a leader. We need a little shithouse from time to time. We can always count on Robertson lining up Jordan Pickford or whoever. And I would hate to lose that. I think Robertson knows that, like I said, his time is coming, but he's still got it in him. So he can be a asset to the team while maybe not getting, maybe splitting time or not having the full, starter, label that he had for so long. Again,
Yeah.
ideal world. You never know. Some people egos can't handle it, but he doesn't strike me as the guy who's going to throw a fit because he's
I
had his
think
time.
so too. Because of his role in the team, I would hope not. But in some ways, I think winning this title for this gang who won it the first time and winning it now with the fans, I can see some of them seeing it as, okay, mission accomplished. I can look for the next step now, especially, if my replacement is here. I'm hoping not. So Matush says, and we were actually oddly talking about this with Angie, I think it was like yesterday or the day before. So I ask you, John, because it's like they're waiting for all three to recreate a nightmare. Yeah,
Dear
that's first of
Lord.
all. I think I don't want it by itself for that,
Yeah.
because it would just bring like flashbacks. But if you run the joint, John, um, would you announce like all three, put them in there, and you're like, boom, how about them apples? Or would you sign one at a time and do like an infomercial and be like Frimpong and then Kerkez, you're like, but wait, there's more. And then, like you bring bursts and stuff and do it like step at a time.
I saw on social media this nice idea where, well, since they're both from Leverkusen, I think Kerkez and I'm no, not Kerkez, Frimpong and Wirtz would be like the ideal duo to announce at the same time. And like obviously, I kind of follow the Dutch national team more than any of the national teams. Like there's these clips of Frimpong talking
By
with
the way, you
Gravenberch.
keep saying this. Is that because Gravenberg is on there? Or like I'm trying to
Well,
understand.
no, it's just like my relatives, like my uncle, like so my aunt is the blood relative. She married this Polish dude, Polish Dutch dude, who follows the Dutch national team. And I talk with him a lot, so I have more knowledge about the Dutch national team more than any other national team. And then obviously Big Verge plays, Gravenberg plays, Gakpo plays there. It helps a lot, right? So. Like seeing Frimpong talk to Gravenberg, talk to Van Dijk, talk to Gakpo in the Scouse accent, it's very endearing, right? So like we can start off with that, like, and then sort of start off the video going like, "How's it going, la?" And then like Wirtz comes in, you know what I mean? Like sort of, it's kind of like that video because obviously these guys have been together for the longest time. Did the Invincibles thing with Bayer Leverkusen, so I think that would be the announcement. I think Kerkez could come at a later time, just not to steal the thunder. You know what I mean? It just seems meant to be with those two, and especially since like those two are like the genuine world class, or in the case of Frimpong, like bordering on world class signings that we have, right?
Yeah, like what do you do with Kerkez if you sign Verts? I guess because you don't want him to be lost in the under the umbrella of like Verts, because obviously he's going to getting a lot of attention worldwide because he's one of like the top players and stuff like that. Matush says, "Oh, but ignoring the Polish
don't worry, that uncle of mine, Matush, thinks the same way. He's just like, oh, Polish national team, what is that? He's more Polish than Dutch, so like, listen."
Triple announcement, says Mr. Barrett. I'm going with we do love our Friday announcements. I'll give him that. But I do think, goes back to, I think Matish was saying in the comments earlier that, with social media and stuff like that and how much, they value that, it's probably a lot smarter to do one at a time, get it talked about, and then, like I say, do the infomercial thing and just like, oh, here's another one kind of a deal before the tournament starts, and then probably do stuff otherwise. But okay, there was talk this morning on Discord in terms of like a striker. Would we spend that much and stuff like that with the rumors coming out? I'll ask you, Kenny, do you see Liverpool? And this is why, going back to our conversation earlier, I feel like what you get out of people like Kelly are important, because if you get 30 instead of 20, and if you get 70 instead of 60 or something like that for Nunez, those will add up, and you might go after a big striker. But do you see us spending big on a striker as well, or with Vert signing that kind of goes out the door?
Well, real quick, I have a theory on the Kerkez Verts announcement stuff. If I remember correctly, the new transfer windows for the season, they have the Club World Cup one early, and you can sign up 2 players. So I imagine we'll do, I think just for that first window, that whatever the June 1st to June 15th or whatever it is, and then it has the real regular transfer window opening up at the end of or the beginning of July like it normally would. My guess is we want to get the 2 Leverkusen players announced because, let's face it, Kerkez has been liking Liverpool stuff since January on social media. He clearly wants to come. There's no risk there. Let him come in and get Verts signed up, because at this point it's so clear and open. If we lose out on Verts after Caicedo and all these other ones, so at the club, that's just a PR nightmare. So let's just get this guy signed and done now. That's my theory. Again,
I did not know there was like a quota of how many. John, you're Mr. Google. I'm sure you're Googling in the background. Is there? I didn't know there was a limit of how many people you can sign. Don't deny you're Mr. Google over there.
No. I was looking at this tweet that Man United are apparently losing to ASEAN All Stars, right? So, like, how's that for laughs, right? Like, the Southeast Asian All-Star team is beating Manchester United. So, like, that's
Kevin says we'll have anyone we don't want or can't afford. By the way, I am Kevin for Crystal Palace. I do see a lot of rumors in terms of people they will be losing, including like Eze and stuff like that. So go ahead, Kenny. Sorry about
no. That's just my theory. I've been thinking about that the past couple of days because I was curious as well about the Kerkez stuff. And again, I could have misunderstood, but I'm pretty sure that's how the new transfer window opened for the Club World Cup. Which what a joke!
We have our AI Google. Well, not AI, but he's he's honest. Our Google man is honest. Yeah.
As far as the
strikers, I can't find
goes,
anything.
Okay, maybe I made that up. I don't know. I haven't had a lot of sleep the past month. I blame the baby if I'm wrong.
John is like the free AI. You get limited access.
It's not a very good one, mind
it's
you.
not the plus version. You just get basics out of them. Go ahead with the strikers.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I thought if we spend 130 odd million pounds on Verts or whatever it may be, anything over 100 would be a huge outlay. I had kind of accepted that. Look, we came across this as something we didn't think was possible. Let's just go for it. We still have Jota. I think he'll probably stick around if Nunez leaves, unless we do sign another forward. Jaden Danz is there if he can stay healthy. I like the look of him. Fingers crossed. Maybe that's wishful thinking. But I've seen a ton of stuff the past day or two. Ekitike seems to be the one that we're looking at. We've been looking at him for a while. No shot we spent 100 million on him. He's not worth it.
I just Googled his value, 55 million.
I could see that. I would be okay with that. See, there's the AI coming back into play. Maybe I did make that up. He couldn't find it, but Ekitike would be great. I mean, ideally, in my perfect summer, it would be Julian Alvarez. I just can't see a world where Atletico would let him go. I just can't see it. Why would they do that? He's been great. I just don't. I mean, you want to trade? I mean, if you want to trade Darwin Nunez for Julian Alvarez, sign me up. I'll fly to Liverpool right now and get that deal done.
I'll be right behind you, my guy. I'll buy him the drinks.
I love Darwin. I've been his biggest fan for the longest time, despite everything he's tried to make me hate him. And still, I would take that deal in a heartbeat. I don't care how much we have to pay. But I just can't.
Wait.
My brain can't.
Wait. So are you still in the give Nunez another season camp, or when did you leave that camp?
Thank the Lord Gordo isn't here. Like, if Gordo was here,
somebody, but no. Okay.
Yeah. No, I really wanted him to do well. And he clearly there's something there. Like he's so I don't know something. But you can't not be scoring and be being a brat the whole time. You can do one or the other. You can either score and be a brat, or not score and not be a brat. But you can't whine on social media about how they're not playing you to avoid paying extra money. And oh God, I felt that was heartbreak for me because I was Darwin's biggest fan. I tried so hard to make sure everyone didn't give up on him, and he's lost me as well.
You would have your work cut out for you if you were joining the channel earlier. Because
no, there was an American Scouser civil war at one time where there was there was the Darwin camp, there was the anti-Darwin camp. Like people got on my ass in this channel, Kenny, for telling him at the start of the season that I would have sold him to start off the year because knowing how Slot played at Feyenoord, where he's a very tactical thinking manager, and we got a player who doesn't think, so you don't have to put two and two together to figure out it won't work.
It's one of the things you're wrong, but I couldn't give him up.
Listen, I would have loved to be wrong because if we're talking about physical traits, the dude has everything.
Yeah, he does.
But listen,
I get it. Hey, look, my hands up. I was wrong. I accept it. But I just it's hard. It's hard not to love the guy until this year.
Like
No, it's been easy. He just made it even easier this year, I think.
this
But,
year
I mean,
he's
not a
lost
guy
me.
to dislike, but I mean, a guy to give up on easily. I think a lot of that. Rustagrab, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining us. He is right. I always forget to ask. But if you're watching us live right now, hit that thumbs up thing over there. So the more likes we get, some poor soul who has not been kind of like seeing us before will get exposed to this comedy as well. Thanks to your thumbs up over there. By the way, Mr. Barrett says news today of Nunez and Costa. Unless they're trying to make an all man bun team, I don't see why they're like would go after. I mean, Costa's Atletico looks like the
uh,
country, right? Because like
it
Atletico like
looks
tries this stuff on unless they're getting him just to make coffee for other people. I just don't
Costas
see a scenario like that.
Costas to Atletico looked like Benteke in a Brendan Rodgers team, man. Like, what is he doing there? Like, it's a horrible fit. Like,
Yeah, I just can't see it. You think
maybe
Atletico, you
because of.
think
Oh, sorry. Go.
strong, powerful. And Costas is creative and he has a nice foot on him, but he's not that battler that you think of when you think of Atletico.
I was about to say, Kenny touched on it.
Like,
Kenny touched on it. Maybe it's the set piece thing too.
Dude, this is not American football. He's not going to be like a.
I don't know, man. I'm just trying to.
Teams like, hey, we got a corner, man. Come on in, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not. I didn't say that I agree with it. You know what I mean? Like,
if that's real though, then by all means, let's do it. Pull the trigger.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was talking about driving him over there. Yeah, hell yeah. But Ruskers, listen, I get all the excitement, but until I see these players holding the shirt, I'm on the same boats. Yes, especially I feel
Not
like
me.
Frimpong is a done deal. Pretty confident about
Come
that
on,
one.
there has to be at least a little bit like bubbling in, like excitement with you. Like, come on, like the negative. We just won the league. We're looking like a big summer ahead. Tell me there isn't just a little excitement like bubbling in, like just winning over the negativity.
No. I'm excited. This is probably like the most to me. It's like an interesting offseason.
Okay, good.
We're trying to. Okay, until now, like with Klopp and stuff, when we had, we were interested in players, you could automatically poo-poo a rumor because you would say, nope, it doesn't fit, it doesn't work. Now that we really don't know what slot normally plays, you can't really base it off of this year. So honestly, anytime there's a rumor, first of all, I can't dismiss it as easily, saying that doesn't make sense, that won't happen. But not only that, I feel like when it does happen, when the rumor is out there, I'm like, how would it even work? Like, what would happen and stuff like that. So there's like a lot of good tactical discussions to be had. And there's the PTSD thing going on as well. So, and yes, not that I don't trust him. Some shit always happens. That's where the PTSD, I think, kicks in. I just don't want that happening and not getting my hopes up, doing all these plans with Wirtz in the middle, and then he's not there and stuff. And you know what? The biggest thing is I would not be as destroyed because we didn't get Wirtz or something like that. I would be more like battling people who are like, we couldn't get Wirtz, blah, 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 like start that parade. The FSG out parade will come out, and I just don't want to deal with that. Just don't have the energy. I just watched Zaha playing Major League Soccer. There's like two bad things in a row over there. Is there anyone you would have back?
I think to answer that question, I think Fabinho had one more good year left as a sub. Like last year, like we let him go. We let go Henderson as well. Like last year, we didn't have a DM, right? I don't know if you remember that we had playing McAllister at the 6th-string clubs last season. I think that would have been a genuine option. I'm not saying he would be like prime Fabinho, but to have him there as a depth piece alongside Endo, like.
Okay, but I got to quantify this question. Okay, because you don't want Fabinho now. I didn't even know.
No, I don't want Fabinho now.
Okay. So who would you actually have? Like, is there a player out there that you'd be like, man, wish we never saw them. I would like to have him back. Like
Nico Williams,
Wilson, somebody like that.
Nico Williams for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Nico. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Nico Williams. I like him. He's good. He's just playing left back for Forest, which is odd.
Yes,
I like
he
it.
plays both sides, which is nice. But okay, let me ask you this then, Kenny. Like, are you like I wouldn't mind having it. Like, I wouldn't mind having Nico back. But if they went out and signed Nico, I would like, what the hell? Like,
no. It'd be nice to have him still as like kind of like the Joe Gomez role where he can play right back, left back, fill in wherever we need him to, kind of thing. Versus like I'm not going to spend money on him. I don't think he's good enough to start.
Okay, so
every
you're
game.
basically picking one just to pick a name kind of thing.
And it's the first one popped in my head of who I'd have back. I want E maybe.
Ooh, that's interesting. I don't know if it fits, but John, do you have somebody, or you're still stuck on Fabinho?
I'm still struggling. Yeah, I'm still struggling. Like, because I feel like at least under Klopp, we released these guys at the perfect time, if that makes sense. Like, we released Mane towards the
Yeah.
end of his, like, Firmino as well. He wasn't there physically as well.
Wijnaldum.
I was thinking maybe Bobby. Like right now, he'd do a job in that 10 role, like as an off the bench option. I would say, like,
He'd
obviously
be our best striker, I think.
exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
he would start over Jota and
he would
Nunez.
start over
Definitely
Jota.
Nunez, yeah.
Yeah, considering how much Slot wants Jota and Nunez to drop back, get that ball, and then spray it out to the wingers. Listen, there's no better guy, even if it's in limited minutes. So maybe Bobby for me. Like, I don't care how finished he is physically. Like, if we manage his game time, play him in the cups or even in a big game there, here and there.
I don't know. Like, you're thinking, the problem is we're thinking of the guys like, as they left 2 years ago. There's like
I guess, yeah.
returns now. Like, we're like kind of like forcing. I think the fact that we have to kind of force the issue goes back to what you're saying, John, in terms of like, we've let these people go. We've let the right people go. And for the aging guys at the right time, and for the younger guys that were not going to be good enough. I worry about Dan's in that sense, that we're talking about so much about him that he might be a guy that like is good, but just not good enough. I mean, it is really, really difficult to be a player in the Liverpool squad. So to make it to the squad, you got to bring people like the Kerkez, the Frimpong. I mean, like so that you are like, okay, he's a starter, he'll be valuable kind of thing. And Sebat says Mane, he will still make a couple of months for trouble defenders. 10 minutes. I don't know. By the way, speaking of Coutinho before Nico, I don't know if you guys saw the Coutinho.
Where does he play now?
There's like gunfire in the background.
He plays it for a Brazilian club. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, it's a Brazilian club. They're like talking to him. It looks like by like the practice fields or something like that. And as he starts talking, there's like gunfire in the background. It was like and stuff. And he just looks at him. But it must be a regular occurrence. Like he kind of like plays it off and answers the question.
No, I think you're right about the letting us go. People go at the right time. I've struggled with being an FSG outer the past couple summers with the lack of business and frustration with not quite getting over the line. But this year kind of refreshed my look into it. And, when you really take a large, zoom out and large scope of things, it does look pretty good. We've done some great business. Got rid of people when we're supposed to. Got great money for Henderson and Fabinho. Like, let's face it, we're past it.
Yeah.
Maybe I like to think I know more than, literal geniuses, Michael Edwards and stuff like that. But maybe, just maybe, he might know what he's doing.
Yeah, I think, it can get frustrating sometimes, especially when you see other moves or like there are players where you feel like, oh, we're going to go nowhere close to that. But when they really, really want somebody, they do go after it and, like throw the money on there if they feel like it's going to be a game changer. I know like everybody says, oh, the money came from Coutinho and stuff like that. They could have pocketed the money. It's not like you have to spend the money. Yeah. So just because we got the money from Coutinho didn't mean that we had to spend it. They could have just pocketed it. But like Van Dijk, Ali, and stuff, when they see value, I think with CVG did not look. Speaking of, he did not look in shape when I saw him on the stands over there. He does not look in shape at all. It did too many pies. Looks like it was a Klopp Edwards issue, and I think one reason, if I have one criticism of Klopp, is the fact that I think he does get, as a manager, because of his style, a little bit too sentimental sometimes, and I don't think knows how to let go of certain guys. We've had some guys, I mean, one reason why we had like guys play out their contracts all the time, and another thing because we've had these guys where they probably should have been let go and they didn't. Like they were kind of like past the expiration date, but we'll just like still keep. He's a hoarder, if you will, of players over there. So that's, I think, the only criticism, and I think that's one thing they probably butted heads with Edwards. I don't know. So far, so good in the system. I have faith in Edwards and obviously Hughes on what he's done. And I still say Hughes has a couple of, I mean, who knew of Kerkez, right, before?
Right.
So I feel like he has a couple of guys in the back pocket that we might sign later on in the window. That might not excite any one of us. It might like kind of slip through the cracks. but could be like a potentially big ordeal. Speaking of a guy who slipped through the cracks and then became a potentially. So I'll just put this on here, and then we'll give it to John. He can talk about Gravenberg. You got like 25 minutes or so to talk about Gravenberg. We did sweep it, but I hate to toot my own horn, but I did say Slot should get Manager of the Year, especially after the Forest collapse towards the end over there. But we'll pass it on to you, John. Clean sweep of all these awards.
Yeah.
Because of the way the season ended, or maybe because we didn't have competition, there's almost like an delusion that we kind of stumbled across, because I think we kind of like stopped having the will to win in the last 4 weeks. But you look
Right.
at that, and you look at the entire season, and this was one hell of an impressive season by this team, actually.
Right, we could have easily gotten like in the 90s range if there was something at stake. Let's say Arsenal were like 5-6 points within us. We would have broken that 90-point gap easily. Like, you can see it with the players. The error that led to the Crystal Palace goal, that doesn't happen if we're focused. Like, Virgil just leaves that massive space there in front of Alisson's goal. Like, come on, that doesn't happen if we're on it. And obviously, we talked about it last week, Tim, where people are making too much out of the points total. Like, listen, it's ridiculous. We've been on holiday for the last, like, literally on holiday, Slot going to Ibiza, the players in Dubai over the last month. So if there is a time for guys to rest, and obviously this is like segueing into Gravenberg, that midfield, right? You said I was going to talk about Gravenberg, and right, but I'm not going to go like ham and praise him like crazy like usual. We need another 6, or would you call it a 6? Like, would you say it's a 6?
Another Gravenberg. Let's go with
holding midfielder.
Right, another holding midfielder that can regularly start a big game alongside McAllister or alongside Gravenberg. Because I know we're getting Wirtz, we're getting Kerkez, we're getting Frimpong. Needed positions, right? Needed positions. Like, we need those players, but we also need that spare midfielder. I still don't trust Curtis Jones enough in a big game to start. Like, if Gravenberg was injured or McAllister was injured and you have Jones starting alongside, I would be a little bit worried. Like, I'm speaking for myself. I don't know about you guys. So I would like us to get a solid option there. The question is, I guess we'll see in where the funds are being split and everything, if management feels the same way. Because if we're spending 100 million on Wirtz, right? If we go for Ekitike for like 50 million, that's probably a good chunk of the budget. So what more will we have left for the midfield? I think it's a massive gamble not strengthening in that area, because the old adage is, if we control the midfield, we win the game. So Gravenberg and McAllister looked leggy as hell towards the end, and not addressing that, I think, could be our downfall. Not to be negative, but then
I was gonna say, I thought this was gonna be like 10 minutes rant on how great Gravenberg is. Just really
because every time I bring up Gravenberg, it's always the same thing. Like, he had an excellent first half, but towards the second half, he kind of dipped, and that's a point of concern, right? Like, that's obviously a point of concern. So is it
3 games, by the way? Because I thought 3 games was only violent conduct. This definitely was not violent conduct.
I think it might be 2.
I think I know it's going to be obviously at least 1, but I thought it was 2 because it was a straight red card. But because
I think you're correct. 1 game ban would be 2 yellows. 2 game is straight red,
but like 1 or something like that. But I think, this is a one. Like, does this guy have like a role coming? We really don't know. I really don't know. It does fit his qualities. I mean, I do what Rasta was saying. I feel like Kenny, his qualities in terms of what he does, because we don't want, like, I think somebody mentioned Baliba from like Brighton. I think like Bajcetic's qualities fits this midfield better than, as much as like I like Baliba. I don't think it's like, it feels like Bajcetic is a better fit in terms of skill sets.
Yeah, Baliba gives me very much like Szoboszlai or McAllister-esque skill sets, where like running for days, powerful. Whereas like Gravenberch is the controller. He can kind of get the ball from the defenders and turn and ease that pressure off us building up from the back. I don't think we really have that other than him. And I love Bajcetic. I'm very biased. I don't know what it is. That season he played really, that's a mark on me. I don't know if he is going to be good enough. I really want him to be. Apparently, his spell at Las Palmas, I'm pretty sure it's where he is now in Spain, has been great. I'll admit I have not watched a single game, so I can't really judge. But I mean, Slot seems to know what he wants. He takes a look at him in the preseason and he likes him, and great. But I do think we need a strength in there. I love Gravenberch. And also, I'm concerned with how we play with Verts unless we do play him as a striker. Because I feel like what might happen is we might start McAllister and Szoboszlai in two like eights and have Verts in front of him. This is obviously a lot of ifs
That's an
and
option,
buts.
yeah.
But I feel like then we'll lack that like pressure reducer we get with Gravenberch, where he can turn and beat a man and like get back to goal. Where I don't McAllister is incredible. I'd say arguably the best midfielder in the Premier League, but that's not one of his like strongest assets.
And I think here's the thing, and that's why I feel like Bajcetic has a better skill set to suit what we're doing right now compared to Baleba, because I feel like the 6 he wants is more like an 8, a 6 that can play an 8, because at times they do play like an 8 because it's a double pivot. Like the 6 suddenly becomes 8, the other one becomes an actual 6, and they kind of go back and forth. To be able to do that, you have to have a 6 who can suddenly morph into an 8 for like a couple of minutes and play that as we're attacking or whatever the case might be. The deal is, I think somebody was mentioning it earlier in the comments, that we don't know how that's going to change when if you have Frimpong as your right back, Kerkez as your left back. If these people are going to be pushing up like we expect them to, because that's obviously their strength, John, that means you will maybe need a guy like Baleba in the middle to kind of be like, I got this, you guys go ahead, kind of like what Fabinho did along with Henderson when Trent and Robertson were up top more than defending behind.
Yes, that's why I was saying, like, midfield is just as big a priority as 10 or as a left back, as a right back, because if our fullbacks are going to be more attacking, like you put 2 and 2 together, that means that our midfield has to cover more ground. Covering more ground means they're going to lose their legs a lot quicker, so there needs to be better rotation options. Like coming in to next season with Gravenberch, McAllister, and Jones as the de facto first options when there's a big game is not enough. Unless unless we retain Endo and he starts playing him, which isn't likely, right? So I don't know. So we got to get someone in there.
That's why this off season is interesting over here, because we just don't know what's going to happen.
Kenny brought it up a while ago. Do you see Dom I think Kenny sees it because he brought it up, but do you see Dom as an option at that 8 spot? 8/6 spot too.
I don't know if he can make the switch. I mean, like Rastakrab says that too, like he's the closest. I just don't know. Think of the number of times where Dom tries to start a counter and loses the ball needlessly back there. So I just don't know if he can. It's a huge like difference. I don't think people understand that, like when you're playing the 8 and the 10 and stuff, you are allowed to take a bit more risk. And you kind of like play like that. Whereas it's different when you're a 6, because you are the guy. There's no 6 behind you. You are the 6.
Yeah.
So whereas if you're playing the 10, the 8 up top, there's a guy behind you who can kind of like help you make up for your mistake before you get behind him. So I don't know. I personally don't think he can. And based on, I don't know, Kenny, like we've tried it almost the last couple of games. And when he said maybe early preseason, that was one of the things we wanted to see if he could do it. I mean, can he over the off season change that mindset? Yes. But as of like what I see now, I just don't see a guy who can make that switch and say, oh, I got to play more defensive now and, not take risks.
I see Dom's perfect position. If we do go back to like a Klopp-esque system of flying wing backs, would be like the Henderson role where he's up and down that right flank, covering everywhere.
Yeah.
He's got the legs. He's great. And he's technically better than, I love Jordan Henderson, but he's technically much better player than Henderson was. He's got the, touch and the shot and the crossing ability. I think that would be great. But again, I just don't think that's, and we haven't seen a slot team with slots players. But from what I saw this year, I don't think he wants that ball playing, holding midfielder to kind of dictate. And with Klopp's system, it wasn't necessarily that. It was like the destroyer. And I just, again, with Verts, I just don't see how we make that work unless we are playing him as like a Bobby Firmino 9/10 role, because otherwise I feel like we're just going to be one short in midfield. Though I did see a cool stat that Wirtz won the most possession back in the attacking third of all the Bundesliga last year. So the pressing monster, that's good. But I think we need another 6 or whatever you want to call it, holding midfielder that can receive the ball as well as cover ground. Besides Gravenberch, because he did fall off. His legs fell off. I just don't think we can do that again another season.
Yeah, I mean, Thursday says worst can play as a false 9. And we were talking about this on Monday night because I was asking the boys, not only because of, ability and stuff. One, the price tag kind of like takes you out of another top striker budget, I feel like.
Yeah.
And if you're putting this much money into it, maybe because you see it as a solution. I know Bickler was mentioning it. I mean, they might have gone into this offseason with a certain plan, but I don't think anybody, including us, I mean, I was asked maybe 3-4 Mondays ago over here in the comments, like Wirtz, and it was like, no, man, Bayern will get him because, Bayern gets what they want in Germany. I mean, Bickler was mentioning that now that they got Wirtz, maybe like, holy shit, wait, this changes everything. One, in terms of the money you spend to get him, and two, the fact that you were able to get him. Now you might be able to do something else and say, let's go to the plan B over here and go to like a totally different thing. I mean, having said that, I asked the boys, but do you see Wirtz if he comes? And I don't want to jinx it over here by talking about it too much, damn it. But do you see us still getting a striker, John, or do you think he's coming as the 9? The false 9, obviously. But.
If I can't presume to know, like you were saying a few minutes ago, where with Klopp, he's been with us almost 10 years. We could kind of predict to a more accurate degree what's going to happen here, of what he's going to do with the player, because we're just so familiar with his system and how he runs things. But this is an entirely new summer, and this is what you're saying, where it's much more exciting, where it's just so unpredictable. You don't know where we're going to go. So I'm going to go about it with how I want it to go, where I want Wirtz as that false 9, just so we can put some money into that midfielder that we were just talking about, because I think it's just as critical as a striker, as a left back, as a right back, that we get some depth, and not just any depth, like first choice depth for Gravenberch and McAllister.
I mean, that makes sense. And it is another thing. It's not just money, I guess, that's one of the aspects that makes me think he's a false 9, Kenny. The second aspect is defensively, you're not going to have Mo say, okay, you don't have to defend, go get me goals, and then do the same thing with Wirtz in midfield, and then have another striker that, even if they press on anything, it's different than being defensive. People just think defending is just pressing, but it's not. That's another reason I feel like he might be one that's actually going to be the false 9 at the same time. The fact that he's familiar with Frimpong and he's the one who sends them, like he could play that Bobby role, still can get goals. And then you're still going to have Mo, and obviously, you're going to have these guys bombing up and stuff like that. But do you think we get another striker like the rumored ones? And by the way, I'm on the same boat over here. The Jonathan David thing is free. There's a reason why nobody has for this guy, despite being free. So
he's been free for what feels like 10 years and no one's picked him up. I just don't, every summer, Jonathan David's available for 10 million. Everyone's like, nah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like there's a reason for that, like you said. So I've been, you think about FSG summers, we don't think of huge outlays really. But it feels like we're ready to play business. Maybe they're happy to get rid of Klopp in the not obviously Klopp is an incredible manager, one of the best to ever do it, but maybe he was a pain in the ass to work with. I didn't want these players. He had the power where he could kind of leverage the what he wanted versus the club and fight him on it. So it became more of a chore than Slot's like, here's kind of the player I want. Do what you can do, do what you can do. Here, Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes, do what you need to do, and I'll take what I can get. As you can see, he took what he got last year with Chiesa, who he clearly didn't like or wasn't fit, and won the league. And I think with a couple extra players, we could have done better in the Champions League. I think our midfielders having more legs in that PSG tie really would make a difference. That goes back to the signing. But sorry, I got on a tangent there. If we sell Nunez and Jota, which I think is very possible, or Diaz, I'm not sure if you guys saw Munich or sniffing around Gakpo now.
Yeah.
If we sell
I took that more as like, oh yeah, you guys are gonna take Vert.
exactly, yeah.
I
I don't see why Gakpo would do that, but Diaz going to Barcelona, which has been a rumor for 3 years as well. If we get Jota going back to Wolves or something I saw, or something like that, and then if we lose Nunez too, then I think that would make us buy a striker. I think we'd have to.
I can tell you were a fan of Nunez at one point because you said if you lose Nunez, like
I know,
it would be devastating or something.
I can't. My love for Darwin cannot be just extinguished like that.
The way you said if you lose Nunez, I kind of got the feeling that at one point I was rooting for him.
Man, I really loved him. I really loved him. But I think if we can get rid of those, here they go, get rid of those players for a decent fee, then why wouldn't we go out and spend on a new improved striker? We certainly need one. And that kind of gives Verts the option of playing the false nine or back in the midfield. We can do both of. And no manager's ever been like, I wish I had less options. So I think it would be cool if I think it's no longer our priority. I think going into the transfer window, that was right up there at the top with the right and left backs, maybe. With Verts being that option who can play there, I think it's dropped down to where if we can find something that works in our budget with the outgoings, we will get one. The opportunistic signing the FSG loves so much. I think that is how we'll get one. I don't think we're going to go big on like an Osimhen. Again, I'd love Alvarez. I just don't see it. If Ekitike is priced,
I put in the same category as David. First of all, his skin has touched the Galatasaray jersey. That virus does not fucking come off. Second of all, I think he's another guy that nobody is forking out the money for.
He's just an asshole, I think, is his problem, and he wants a ton of money. He's good, but like, is it worth it? Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think it fits. But
if maybe I personally would like Liam Delap. I think he'd be good, cheap option.
Let's go.
But
let's go. So I got a lot of flack here. For context, Kenny, I got a lot of fucking flack here for saying Liam Delap.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I got a lot of flack. Like, let me just tell you.
I'm not saying he should be our starting number 9 biggest signing ever, but as a depth option or an option off the bench, he's fast, he's powerful, he can shoot. That goal he scored, he beat off 20 players and shot one from 30 yards. That's good in the Premier League. Playing for Ipswich, he was terrible. Sorry, guys. I'm going to be the
okay, first of all,
the non-fan favorite too.
Let's put these to bed right away. I don't think Delap is going anywhere as a backup, as a rotation piece. He's not. Like, he's going somewhere where he's going to be the starter. And there are so many teams that need that part. And even if it's not true, like, he might go to Chelsea or something like that with the promise of being the guy, and he might not be. He might be one of the 6 strikers over there that never plays. But I just don't see. I think he's going to end up at United because one, he fits their budgets because they're not going to have a lot of money to spend with no Champions League and stuff like that. And two, John is wrong. So let's just leave it at that.
The thing is, like, with the whole depth piece thing, I don't think, with the exception of Salah, Tim, is there any first choice attacker at Liverpool? You know what I mean? Like, the only nailed on attacker in our squad is Salah. Like, Diaz can play one day, he cannot. Gakpo can play one day, he cannot.
Yeah, I feel like Diaz gets so much shit unfairly. I've been saying this all year.
I'm not shitting on Diaz. I'm not shitting on Diaz. I'm just saying, like,
you always shit on Diaz.
I'm not shitting on Diaz. I'm just saying, like, if we're talking about a guaranteed place in any 11 at any given time, it's Mo Salah. So what I'm saying this is because if we get someone like Delap, technically, Slot can tell him, like, oh, you want to be first choice? Like, listen, the only first choice we got here is Mo Salah. And I think he would understand that because of Mo Salah's body of work.
First choice, like, when you say first choice, you're basically talking about Mo because he never comes up. I think, I would consider Gakpo first choice. I would consider Diaz first choice just because they play the same position. And because we don't have a center forward, you have to push Diaz to the middle. And then evaluating him because he's playing out of position seems unfair because Gakpo can't go in the middle but Diaz can kind of.
Right. Again, and we're going back to this argument. It's a matter of preference. Like if we get like a striker, let's say we get Delap. Obviously, the Diaz and Gakpo debate, they both don't become first choice because it's like a horses for courses kind of thing. You know what I'm trying to say? So, like I brought up that argument saying that maybe Delap would be, or maybe let's not say Delap because like it's like saying Voldemort in Harry Potter right here in this channel, right? A striker that's similar to his profile, who wants to be a first choice, I think would still be receptive to the idea of coming to Liverpool to fight for his position because one, we won the league, two, it's Liverpool, and three, there's a big chance that he's going to win things and a lot of things if he tries and fight for his place. Is just what I'm trying to say.
What about João Pedro from Brighton? Apparently, they're dropping the price by half. If it, they were quoting 100
closeout sale, like everything must go.
Yeah,
they were quoting 100 million, then it was 50 million. I saw something saying 30 million. I'd take Pedro for 30 million.
He is not going to go for 30 million because I think a lot of people would take him for 30 million.
Oh, he is.
He's another kind of guy.
He's also a brat.
Like Cunha, who's also.
Yeah, I don't like João Pedro.
That's a done deal.
It's just maybe your non-Voldemort Delap option for an example would be João Pedro.
Mr. Battle Red, come on. Like, tell me Jadon Danns can get like 12 goals playing for Ipswich.
Oh, you don't know.
But we know with Delap. We know. You know what I mean? He's a commodity that you know. Like, he can get some goals in a team that has barely any options. So he can get some goals.
But he is the only option in that team. See, this is
right. You know how hard that is?
Look at a team like Ipswich. Scoring at a team like Ipswich and scoring at a team like Liverpool are night and day. The defenses you face and the challenges you face are night and day.
I get
That's
that.
why a lot of these guys who do well in smaller teams suck in bigger teams because
I got a counterpoint to that. Who do you think scores more goal in Ipswich, Holland or Liam Delap? I think Liam Delap does.
No, I think Holland does.
The thing is,
he doesn't make his own chances. Holland just happened and cross
Yeah, you see how many times
Norway, for example.
You see how many times Delap has had to take initiative upon himself and try and create some shit. Like, I've never seen Haaland do that, like, at a consistent level where he had, like, 6 superstars feeding him the ball at the side.
You guys did not just put Haaland over Delap.
I'm not saying...
I'm saying two very different strikers.
Yeah, we're not saying that Delap is a better
player.
Delap
would score more at City than Haaland.
No. I'm saying Delap would score more at Ipswich.
In Ipswich. He said in Ipswich, yeah.
Delap would score more than Haaland.
We're not transferring for Ipswich. I thought we were talking for transferring to us.
I think I'm agreeing with you, but you just don't like my way of doing it. I think what I'm saying is the more chances would Liam Delap score goals at City? Yes, everyone would. Would Liam Delap score goals at Liverpool? Yes, everyone would. He'd be getting a lot more service. Is he as good as Haaland? Would Haaland score more goals than Delap for Liverpool? Probably. Would Haaland score more goals than Delap for Ipswich? I don't think so.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
He's not getting the service that he needs. Whereas for Liverpool, you are getting service. You have Frimpong, Kerkez, McAllister, Salah. I mean, Szoboszlai feeding you chance after chance. I think that would be good. I think he would only score more goals at Liverpool. I think the lack of service is the strong
your guy's case. Nunez.
Yeah.
With the amount of low chances that Delap gets for Ipswich, where he has to convert literally every other shot, you're telling me he can't convert more than Nunez, who scored like 3 goals this year, man?
No, but I'm talking about a guy who created his own opportunities, scored a bunch of goals that maybe Haaland would not, and then came to Liverpool with all the service in the world and could not score anything. I think Delap would be a slower Nunez, or Nunez with no bun.
As a depth piece at 22 years old, who can only get better each year, I think he can break 3 league goals in the
we
first.
should clip this so you get another.
He's also less than half the price of Nunez. So
yeah.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I think. Look, value-wise, I get it. 30 million sounds like fine, but I do agree with Matt. That's right. I mean, I would rather put that time and efforts into Danns as the backup, because he's not coming as the backup. I think because he has so many options where he can go as a starter. I don't think he's coming as a backup, because I know what you're saying, John. He would be going to United's is kind of like a death wish for anybody at this point. But
Mm.
you know, he has other clubs he can go to, I think, as a guaranteed starter and not get lost in the mix. But it will be an expensive sub. And okay, we're not signing Davids. Back off, Sir Z.
30 million.
Yeah,
The thing is,
we
30
can all
million.
agree on no Jonathan David, I think.
The thing is, though, 30 million for a sub in this day and age is, for a club like Liverpool, is peanuts, though. Like, not even talking
I'm
about
not talking for us. I'm talking more for him, I think.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
he would not want to go somewhere to sit on the bench, knowing he's going to be on the bench, kind of a thing.
He could be our new Jota.
It's like Kelleher when we were talking about him earlier. Like, he would want to go somewhere where he's the guaranteed starter, not compete.
Okay, hypothetical. We sell Jota, and we go for him. Would you be opposed to that?
Yeah.
I think it'd be great.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Because it would shut you up for
That's
one.
all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say. The bar is so low, right? Where if we get someone who's got potential for 30 million, that's all I'm trying to say.
I don't
That's
know.
cheaper than Jota and Nunez.
Yeah. It's cheap.
Ekitike for 50 or Delap for 30. I don't know about the first
Ekitike.
player as much.
Ekitike. Yeah, Ekitike, of course. Right.
Why? I thought Delap was going to score all these goals.
Well,
I think he's going to score all those goals and then a couple more and a couple of assists.
First of all, like, we're directly in for Ekitike, so there's something that Slot sees in him, which is a better fit for our style.
Yeah, probably. I agree to that.
I really like Ekitike. I think he'll be good. I'm not sure. He worries me a little bit because I think if we're going to spend big on a striker, we need to do the best we can to make sure it's a sure thing. And I could see a world where Ekitike can't quite cut it physically in the Premier League. I don't know for a fact because that people said the same thing about Isak. They're very similar builds and players, but I could see a world where he gets bullied in the Premier League. So he worries me a bit. I do like the player. I watch a lot of Bundesliga as well, and if we signed him, and I think he has potential to be very, very, very good. But I read an article about us getting burned by the Nunez deal and how if we do sign a striker, it needs to be the closest to a sure thing as possible. And I think that may be where, and I'm sorry in advance, Delap can be a little bit different because he's proven that he can handle the physicality in the Premier League.
Let's
Okay, that's
go.
I'm in this goddamn show. Okay, I think.
All that being said, I'd rather have Ekitike over Delap. Just saying, I could just see a world where that was the thought process of
right.
The FA.
Like, and jokes aside,
agreement that it's anybody but David.
Yes, I can
jokes
definitely agree that.
Jokes aside, though, Tim, how big a part do you feel like that us being burned by Nunez plays into this? Nothing.
I don't think so because it's a different regime. I have a kind of confidence in these guys working with Slots, getting him what he needs, wants, and stuff like that. And like I say, those plans might change based on what happens with Wirtz. So it'll be interesting to see. All we know is what we learned today is we don't want Jonathan David, and you guys
we kind of want Liam Delap.
And John hates Diaz. So we already knew that, but we kind of confirmed it again. Thanks a lot for all those joining us today. John's FIFA team is Delap number 9, Gravenberg, and that's it.
I don't have the obsession. I don't have the obsession with Delap. I just feel like he's just kind of underrated. Everyone just like shits on him because he's not a sexy name. You know what I mean? Like, he's English. He's a big dude. He's like a classic. Sometimes he plays like a classic striker. So everyone's like, ugh. You know that Drake meme where he's just like,
if I'm in the championship, I'm all over the lap. I'm telling you.
It's too good for the championship, man.
I'm signing him in a heartbeat. But hey, thanks a lot as always for those watching live. Do please hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff if you have not done so already. And as I always say, grab a friend by the ear, drag their butt over here, get them exposed to this comedy, and maybe they'll be in the audience backing me up on this whole freaking Delap thing.
Yeah, feel free to have your friends come and rip me up in the comments.
Yeah, Friday, I'll be talking about the Delap signing. Jesus, I'll call him for a week at least. I'm not showing up on the show with John if Delap signs. I can tell you that. But have a great day, everybody. The gang should be back tomorrow night, the Bald Crew. So do join them then, 7:00 Central, 8:00 Eastern tomorrow night. And I'll see you guys Friday morning. Hopefully with no Delap news. But have a great day. Take care.